Hey Dave, you stoked?
I'm stoked.
We're ready to go. Justin? Justin, you stoked?
What?
You stoked?
Of course.
Yeah, you're
the shop.
Hi, puppy. Hi.
But they never did, ever did, ebbing and flowing, inhibited, limited, till it broke up when it rained down. It rained down like.
Hi.
Hi Dave.
Hi.
We call him Gimli.
What? Since when?
Well,
At
I
the
do.
next traffic lights, turn right.
In my head.
Okay.
Dave, where are we going?
We're going forging, as Gimli's people often do.
The skill of the dwarves was unequaled, fashioning objects of great beauty.
We're gonna go hit some hammers on some molten steel. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, so we're gonna get some frickin'
At the
rage
traffic
out.
lights, turn right onto
Wait,
Road.
I can say on YouTube, can't I?
Yeah.
I think I just gotta bleep it.
It's your own channel, so it doesn't matter.
That's gonna be interesting. Oh boy. Alright, so what are you working on right now? What are you forging right now?
Right now I am working on a billet of Damascus steel, which for those who are not familiar, is a special pattern of laying different types of steel on top of each
2.7
other.
kilometers, turn right onto 2nd Avenue.
Pardon the GPS. And as you layer it together, mush it all, it creates this pattern in the steel that looks a little bit like a wood grain. And the more patterns or the more layers you put in the pattern, the cooler it looks. So right now I've got a billet in there, and we'll see it later. It's 16 layers thick right now. So we're gonna draw that out, flatten it, finish the forge welding, which is the process of mushing all the layers together. And then we're gonna hopefully cut it in half and stack it on top of itself, and then smush it together and turn it into more layers, and then more layers, and then we'll see what happens. That's it for today, but we'll see.
Flashback.
So a week before Dick decided to join us over this, Justin and I had already been working on a couple of billets. This one's mine. It's only 4 layers thick and quite a bit wider than the one that Justin has decided to put together. This one is his. It's a much thinner billet, also 4 layers thick. And we had some plans to turn these into some interesting little knives, but the reality is we're just learning. Nobody's taught us how to do any of this stuff, so this material is stuff that we're learning what it feels like to forge weld stuff together. Again, this is Justin hammering his skinny 4-layer billet together, and then I'm going to follow up right behind him and work on my much wider but flatter billet. I'm trying to flatten it out right here with the flat side of the hammer to make sure that it is smooth enough for cutting and stacking for the next couple layers. Unfortunately, neither one of us, we got it too thin. So neither one of us was paying attention to leaving our stuff in the forge, and it was in the next room. He's working on stuff, and we may have burned our steel. I'm going to take it to the grinder and see what's become of it. Maybe it's just thinner than I thought, but it's going to take a lot of digging. I don't know. A lot of steel that might be gone. We'll see. In the meantime, Justin over here is trying to figure out what happened with his. Huh? Say hi, everybody. What's going on with your billet? Say it again. She is. Let's see.
Don't want to see.
Yeah, I want to see. Oh boy. Well, actually, I don't know.
Only a centerpiece, I think, though. The ends might be salvageable.
So, after realizing that we have essentially burnt through our billets of steel, we decided it was time to start over. So, we fired up the forge and got her all heated up and ready to go. While the forge warmed up, it was time for me to get my next billet ready to go. I'm going to be using two different kinds of steel, 1095 and 15N20. If you want to know what those numbers mean, just check out the description below. I'm not actually welding it in preparation for forge welding, but I'm going to weld these two pieces of steel together to make sure that they stick nice and securely together while I throw them in the bandsaw to cut them down into 4 smaller bits. This will allow me to stack them into a billet of 8 layers before throwing it into the forge. Now, while I wait for my billet to be cut, I need a little something extra to help me reach the height of the forge, being almost 6 inches shorter than Justin.
Would you like me to find you a box?
After cutting the two pieces of steel into their separate parts and stacking them 8 layers thick, I've also attached a thick piece of rebar to the end of it to kind of act as a handle, because at this particular point in time, the billet is way too big for tongs. A couple love taps with a 2-pound hammer sets the welds, and it's ready to be put back into the forge during a cooling process called annealing. And again, I'll put the description for that in the video description below. Essentially, it just makes the steel easier to work with later on.
End of flashback.
So, it's back to the day from the beginning of the video, and we're going to show Dick something pretty cool that Justin showed me my first day in the shop.
So, they're going to do something really cool. Don't know what the it is. Dave, explain.
So apparently there's a fun little trick with using the forge. You use a little bit of water and some really hot steel, and you put them together and water turns to vapor and it makes something quite energetic on the anvil.
Just a little side comment here, Justin did burn himself with the sparks, so once again, don't try this at home.
Fire on the floor!
That was good steak in here.
Whoops! This is why you wear your safety stuff!
So, as we've mentioned before, we are just starting out. Justin and I are learning as we go, nobody has taught us anything, and we don't have any power tools. So once the forge welds had been set and we don't have a power hammer or a hydraulic press to use, it's time to bring out the sledgehammer.
No, it's okay, it's okay.
And don't miss. Anyways, Mr. Grayson had shown up originally to take some video and some photos, but we decided it was time to give him a shot at hammering some steel. Nearly 6 months ago, I was welcomed into Justin's shop. I wasn't the first. I won't be the last. We met through an online men's group, BC Whiskey Wizards, a local community of men helping men to become better men, and we've been helping one another and others learn how to forge ever since. Forging isn't easy, and we didn't get much done today, especially without any power hammers or hydraulic presses. But forging and learning share a few things in common. They both require patience, mistakes, and a lot of time. So, we'll be back next week to do it all again. Until then,
Later.